Hey, what's up, mortals? It's Fallon Echo here with a new video for you. Welcome to Season 2, Part 1 of What If Izuku Was Majin. I just wanted to greet you guys by just saying sit back and relax. You're in for a treat. So we begin. Days after the attack on the USJ, UA temporarily closed for the student safety of the students and discussed current problems. Media swarmed the place questioning what and who attacked in the first place. The staff only talked about the recent attack between a new and familiar group of villains, the League of Villains and the Red Ribbon Army. They didn't talk about the connections between Dr. Gero and Vomi because they didn't know yet what to do with her. The heroes discussed the recent events and the situation with Vomi. In the conference room, the heroes were able to discuss why and how the villains decided to attack them. Struggled with the two people that portal everyone there and led them, and couldn't come to an agreement about Vomi. Most of the heroes argue that Vomi shouldn't be allowed to work at UA, considering that she could be spying on the villains, while the rest believe she's innocent and had nothing to do with it. Everyone was bickering back and forth about what to do with her, while All Might and Nezu watched them. Finally, Nezu stopped everyone's comments and decided to put in his, as one of the teachers decided to chime in.
So what should we do? Should we allow her?
President Mike questioned.
She worked with Gero. She could still be working with him in secret.
President Mike wasn't finished speaking, but Nezu interrupted him what he had to say. Yes, I understand that many of you believe she betrayed us, but one of the police officers had a quirk that forced them to tell the truth. They used it on her to see if she was telling the truth, and she told us everything. Nezu stated. She didn't know about the break-in, the attack on the USJ, or the other group of villains besides the army.
She helped protect the students against the villains, and she said she left the army long ago.
Aizawa chimed in as everyone fell silent until Mike spoke up.
Yeah, but don't you remember why they attacked in the first place?
Mike said.
They were not only here to kill All Might, but they were here to take her back along with one of the students that somehow have a connection with her.
Mike got up from his seat.
And how else could the villain know about the schedule in the first place? The only way they could get in is if they had someone that goes to UA.
Sure, but the only time they stole that info was whenever the news broke through the gates and sent everything into a panic, Aizawa said as he pushed himself up from his seat. And Vomi was with us the whole time before and during the break-in. Mike and Aizawa argued with each other before the other teachers decided to join in with their own opinions, putting the whole room in chaos again. All Might tried to calm down everyone, but it had no effect. It only got worse until a loud whistle stopped everyone. They saw Nezu with a whistle in his mouth, telling them to sit down and try to act like adults. They listened to him as Nezu allowed All Might to speak.
I get it, everyone. You must have trouble trusting Vomi now,
All Might said.
But I've been around her a lot, and she helps with the students and the staff. She tries to make up for her mistakes and help in any way she can. Just give her a chance.
They looked at each other, questioning if they should do it. Finally, most of them sighed and nodded. Then Nezu came in with another comment that got their attention. And if she does anything out of place, you can stop her. Does everyone here agree? Nezu asked everyone.
Yes,
the teachers said in unison. The day UA reopened, most of the staff would either avoid her, or whenever she tried to speak with them, they would respond to her in a cold tone. Even though she knew what Nezu talked about with her, she still felt disappointed with hiding her past from them, especially Izuku. As for Izuku, everything seemed to be going okay with him. He and Mina walked and talked with each other about Vomi not responding to them, and wondered why she kept her secret from them. But the only thing they cared about was to make sure she was all right. They stepped into the classroom, and everyone surrounded and questioned Izuku's behavior when he attacked the villains and heroes. Izuku hesitated initially, but came up with something, hoping it would fool them. Well, whenever the villains separated us, that android with them jumped me, used his ability to hypnotize me, and told me to attack anything in my sight, Izuku nervously said. He kept looking away from his classmates, and it seemed like it fooled them, except for Bakugo and Mina. Bakugo knew about Izuku's behavior, but Mina was getting more suspicious of Izuku's behavior and Vomi's secrets. Mina still cared about her friend, but wished there weren't any secrets between them. A bandaged-up Aizawa walked into the room and told everyone to sit down and listen to him. They feared for what he was about to say, but were caught off guard when he spoke.
The UA Sports Festival is happening next week,
Aizawa said. Everyone sighed, while Kirishima happily screamed out that he was ready to battle. Most students questioned why it was still happening after the attack and if it was a good idea to do so. Aizawa stated that if the event is happening, it shows that the school is taking care of the problem and that security shall have an extra protection just in case. But he said that they shouldn't worry about that and worry about training and preparing for the festival. Everyone all agreed in unison, and the class went on. Once class is finished, Izuku, Mina, Kirishima, Ochaku, and Ida made their way to the lunchroom, discussing the reasons for being a hero. They neared the lunchroom until All Might came running down the hall in excitement, striking a pose in front of the shocked group. Izuku questioned why he was here, and All Might responded,
Young Ashido, young Midoriya. Do the two of you want to have lunch together?
All Might said as he held a lunchbox in his hand. Ochako, Mina, and Kirishima laughed while Izuku and Ida smiled. Mina and Izuku accepted, and the rest made their way to the lunchroom. They were all surprised that All Might was talking to Izuku and Mina, wondering why he wanted to speak with them. They kept talking as someone listened to the conversation carefully, as multiple thoughts ran through his head. Izuku, Mina, and All Might opened the door to find Vomi sitting in the room with her head down. Izuku and Mina knew what was happening and decided to sit across from her. The room fell silent as everyone waited for someone to speak until finally Vomi spoke. Izuku, Mina, I kept a terrible secret from both of you and believed it was using you for my gain, Vomi stated. But I changed my ways once I left the army and found you, Izuku. I'm not asking you for your forgiveness, but I just want the two of you to hear me say I'm sorry for everything that's happened because of me, Vomi said as tears rolled down her face. Izuku and Mina sat there for a bit before getting up. Vomi knew they would walk away from her, but All Might saw what they were doing. She was surprised that Izuku and Mina were hugging her. She asked why they were hugging her. Shouldn't they be furious at her and not want to see her again? Vomi, we are angry that you kept it from us, but we still care about you no matter what. You helped us improve our quirks and prove that you're a good person. Vomi smiled as she hugged Izuku and Mina. After a while, they sat back in their seats, and Vomi thought maybe it was time she knew too. Bakugo, Aizawa, and All Might already knew about it, so she thinks it's about time. Vomi readied herself to explain everything to Mina. Mina, I think it's time you should learn what Izuku truly is. Mina nodded and listened to Izuku and Vomi's true forms. After Vomi finished speaking, Mina was shocked to hear what they were truly capable of and how Izuku was much more dangerous than her. Izuku, Vomi, and All Might could tell that so much was going on in her head and didn't know how to react. Finally, Izuku placed his hand on her shoulders, breaking her out of her state. Mina, we were afraid of telling you because we didn't want you to get hurt, Izuku said. If you don't want to be friends anymore, then... Izuku was cut off when Mina pulled him into a hug. Suzu, you're my best friend. I wouldn't leave you no matter what. Izuku paused for a second before hugging Mina. He was happy that Mina was a true friend to him. All Might coughed and grabbed everyone's attention as Mina and Izuku separated themselves in embarrassment. He chuckled as he sat down with Vomi and began to speak.
I'm glad that everything is settled with everyone. I think we should discuss what is ahead right now.
All Might told everyone that his time for using OFA shortened quite a bit from the fight with the Nomu, and that his time to retire is coming soon. All Might stated that Mina needs to make this sports festival her debut and show everyone the new symbol of peace. Mina said she wouldn't have as much of an impact as he did. All Might put a hand on her shoulder and told her that he believed she could do it her way. While All Might talked with Mina, Vomi explained to Izuku that during the week before the festival, she wanted Izuku to focus on his energy blast and stretchy abilities. Izuku and Mina fist bumped each other and said to Vomi and All Might that they'll show everyone that they'll become the symbol of peace. Vomi and All Might smiled at the comment and asked if they still wanted to eat lunch together. This video is sponsored by Adobe. Adobe is redefining the digital experience through game-changing innovations that shape the next generation of storytelling. Adobe makes it easy to create, edit, and share digital documents securely, allowing you to collaborate and communicate across devices. Adobe Photoshop is your go-to application for faster graphics editing and digital art as a whole. At We the Celestials, all our thumbnails across every channel are created with Adobe Photoshop. Adobe Premiere Pro is a timeline-based and non-linear video editing software application that is versatile and easy for beginning and master editors. Finally, Adobe After Effects is the industry-standard tool for digital visual effects, motion graphics, and compositing applications used in post-production. Many of our voice actors, audio editors, and video editors, myself included, use Premiere Pro and After Effects to produce these high-quality videos. Click the link in the description to start creating now, and thank you to Adobe for sponsoring this video. The day had ended and Class 1A was ready to go, but was stopped by the other classes surrounding them. The classes were curious about them and talked amongst them. They asked why they were blocking them in the room until someone pushed through the crowd and began to speak with them. A student from the General Studies, Shinso. So, Class 1A, the ones that fought against the villains and made it out alive, Shinso said. Everyone was confused about who he was and didn't know how to respond. I bet you all think you're better than us just because you fought. Then you're wrong. Shinso went to say that it didn't matter if they appeared on the news or heard from others. If they show the UA staff that they are most capable than the students in Class 1A, they will transfer out of the class. Everyone was a bit worried about how this Shinso had just declared war with all the classes against their class. But Bakugo walked past him without saying a word, with everyone else following suit as the week training began. The students were doing their respective training to prepare them for the festival. Although Izuku and Mina decided to train together, they primarily focused on their respective quirks. The week went by and the sports festival arrived. The students tried their best to calm themselves in any way they could. Finally, Ida came into the room screaming that it was almost time. Izuku and Mina talked and wished each other luck, were about to fist bump, but stopped when someone called out their names. Everyone turned to see Todoroki walking towards them. Mina, Izuku, and Todoroki stared at each other, seeing what they would say next. Izuku, Mina, I don't know how you two have a personal connection with All Might, but I want the both of you to know this. I will defeat you and prove that I'm superior. Oh yeah, well then you better give it your all, icy hot, Mina stated. She stared down at Todoroki while everyone just watched. Bakugo fumed, as not only did Todoroki declare war on the pieces of gum, but she also stole his insult from him.
What's going on, watchers and listeners? Welcome to the UA Sports with your hosts, Present Mike and Eraserhead.
Present Mike screamed through the mic as the crowd cheered louder. I despise you, Mike, Aizawa said through bandages. Mike chuckled as he continued speaking.
These first-year students are going through multiple events to show what they're capable of as they fight against their classmates. But unfortunately, only one can come out on top.
The students made their way to the stadium as Vomi, All Might, and the staff watched each class introduction. Most of the staff sat far from Vomi, still on the fence with her. Vomi sighed as All Might patted her on the back. Izuku, Mina, All Might thought. You don't have to win the festival, just show what you're truly made of. All the classes, from heroics to general studies, made their way to the podium, where Midnight was standing, cracking her whip and grabbing everyone's attention.
All right, before the games begin,
Midnight stated,
we have a speech from a student in Class 1A, Izuku Midoriya,
Midnight said, pointing towards Izuku. Everyone turned to see nervous Izuku. He couldn't move an inch because he had given a speech in front of thousands of people. He didn't know what to do, but he felt Mina put a hand on his shoulder as she smiled at him. You got this, Zuzu, Mina said with a thumbs up. Izuku smiled as he slowly made his way up to the podium. Midnight got out of the way as Izuku cleared his throat. Izuku froze up. Izuku looked all around him as everything around him started to sink and laughter surrounded him. He saw Mina smiling and focused on calming his energy. He grabbed the mic and screamed into it.
I'm not the best with speeches or public speaking, but I just want to say this. I want everyone here to give their all. Don't hold yourself and others back. Show the pros that we're the next generation of heroes in the making. And go beyond, plus ultra!
Izuku screamed at the top of his lungs as he held his fist up. The entire stadium erupted in excitement as Izuku made his way back to his classmates. His classmates congratulated him for a simple but encouraging speech.
Well done, Midoriya. Now I hope you're all prepared for the first event.
Midnight said as she posed in front of the screen. A wheel with multiple events went through a cycle to see which one was picked until it stopped.
An obstacle race!
Midnight went over the rules as the students made their way to the gate and waited for the event to begin.
I will prove to him that I'm more than a tool.
Todoroki thought as he looked back to see his father giving a disappointed look.
and we'll beat whoever gets in my way.
Bakugo thought as he looked back at Izuku, Mina, and Todoroki.
And we'll show the world who I am.
Mina and Izuku thought as they looked towards Vomi and All Might. The light flashed with the sound going off.
Begin!
Midnight screamed. Students ran to the gate, pushing everyone out of the way as Mike gave commentary, while Aizawa grumbled about just being there with him. The gates were crowded with students trying to push their way through. Mina and the rest struggled to make their way through while Izuku shaped his body to fit through the cracks of people and made his way out of the gate. Once Izuku exited the gates, he noticed the gates and beyond it froze up and stopped a lot in their tracks. Todoroki was running out of the gate with ice freezing the ground he touched. Todoroki saw Izuku in front of him and used his ice to try to slip up or freeze Izuku. But thanks to Izuku's ability to sense energy, he could dodge where Todoroki would send the ice to him. Todoroki was annoyed with Izuku and ready to another attack, but stopped whenever he heard multiple say his name. He turned to see Mina, Bakugo, Kirishima, and other students jumping over the ice.
Looks like Izuku and Todoroki are in the lead, but if they want to continue, they must face Robo Inferno!
Izuku and Todoroki stopped in their tracks as multiple 0 and 1 pointer robots blocked off their way. Students questioned how they could have these robots in an event like this. Izuku put his hand up in front of him and prepared to fire an energy blast at the 0 pointers, but stopped when Todoroki placed his hand on the ground and a giant piece of ice pierced through and froze the robot in place. Todoroki ran underneath the robot, with Izuku following suit. Mina watched the two run off and Bakugo using his explosions to propel himself into the air, and knew what she needed to do to catch up with them. Thank you all for indulging yourself in all this information thus far. I hope you enjoyed it. Now, there are a few more things that I'd like to go over before the video ends. Firstly, I'd like to thank our patrons. BD Flames, Ethan Davis, Terry Chills, Shifter Milas, Adam Zagil, Zill, Zabbeat03, and Joshua Phelps. Secondly, I'd also like to thank all of our YouTube members. Toya Costa, Rob the King, Sith Lord 906, CF2364 and Knuckles, Remu Tempest, Angel Juarez, Donald C. Stewart, Bryant Freer, and Demonized Fox. Thirdly, if you're in the mood for some great storytelling, We the Celestials has you covered. Our We the Celestials My Hero Academia and Naruto What If channels retell the story of their namesake anime with a twist. Check it out if you're interested. Fourthly, on behalf of We the Celestials, I'd like to thank everyone involved in today's excellent content production. Their details can be found in the description below. Lastly, if you're interested in what we do here at We the Celestials, I'd like to extend an invitation to join the team. The only caveat is that we only accept members from 16 years or older to join our crew. You can sign up for whichever category fulfills your interest by joining the recruitment Discord using the link in the description below. We're always looking for members to join us. Well, that's it from us from today's video. So thank you all for watching and have a great day.